Imagine a beautiful morning when you arrive at the familiar office where you've worked for 11 years, only to suddenly receive the news that you've been laid off. In that moment, everything feels fragile, as the looming threat of unemployment becomes a reality you cannot change. This is the story of Cao Tri-Lui, an IT manager at a high-tech corporation, currently living and working in Shanghai. At the age of 45, he should have been an indispensable key employee. Yet now, he finds himself struggling to secure a new job, competing with energetic and creative 20-somethings. After many unsuccessful attempts, he eventually chose to become a delivery driver, a job that requires no formal qualifications, and one he could start immediately. However, is being a delivery driver really as easy as he thought? Does it truly offer the freedom and comfort that many people imagine? Or is there an untold story behind it, filled with harsh challenges? Today, join me as we ride alongside Cao Tri-Lui on his motorbike, weaving through the bustling streets of Shanghai to explore the life and hidden challenges of being a delivery driver. When effort is never enough. If Tri-Lui were lazy or incompetent, he might not have been so angry when he received the termination notice from the management. But no, he was hardworking and talented, one of the main pillars of the corporation. During his 11 years working there, not a single day passed without him working overtime until midnight to complete unfinished projects. Single-handedly, he supported his small family of 5. In life, who doesn't dream of their loved ones receiving the best? Tri-Lui was no exception. He discussed with Xiao Ni, his wife, suggesting she quit her job teaching drums to become a full-time homemaker. He advised his parents to sell their small house and move in with him in the spacious apartment he and his wife had just purchased with a bank loan. He wanted his daughter to receive the best education, so he spared no expense in enrolling her in an international school. Yet, everything changed in just one day after he received that termination notice. Never had the future seemed so uncertain, as he understood the harsh realities of the labor market. Everyone in China is familiar with the term, the curse of turning 35. Initially, this term was coined to describe the rumor that large companies would try to lay off employees over 35, who had been with the company for a long time, and accounted for a large portion of the salary budget. This became even more real and evident after the COVID-19 pandemic, which made unemployment a top concern for many people. Holding the job application form in his hand, just a glance around the room, and Tri-Lui knew he had almost no chance of competing against the young men in their 20s, full of energy and enthusiasm. There was a time when he was like them, carefree and innocent, because that youthful passion was his strength. After 11 years of dedicated service, witnessing many colleagues skipping water breaks and wearing diapers to save time, giving all their strength to the job, Tri-Lui bitterly realized that he had been worn out and exhausted. All he received in return for those years of hardship was diabetes and the constant worry of providing for his family. Yet, how could he dare to tell his parents and wife this news of his job loss from them? But fate showed no mercy. When his father suffered a stroke and was bedridden, just the medical expenses for his father drained the entire compensation the company had agreed to pay. Before long, Tri-Lui found himself in a desperate situation. And sometimes, filial piety also requires money to care for parents when they are ill. Tri-Lui stopped hoping to find a job he wasn't able to compete for. He began to see life from a different perspective, that what you do doesn't matter, as long as you make money. From then on, he was ready to try his hand at fields he had never worked in before. Is being a delivery driver as easy as imagined? By chance, he met Duong Dai-sun, a young man full of enthusiasm working as a delivery driver for a food delivery app. Tri-Lui went to the company's headquarters to apply for a job. Contrary to what Tri-Lui had imagined about a job that didn't require a degree, but still allowed him to earn money easily, being a delivery driver revealed difficulties he had never known. In addition to competing with other major delivery apps, the food delivery app company also had strict policies regarding work regulations. The first challenge was punctuality. The delivery drivers are strictly evaluated and monitored by the system to ensure customer satisfaction is optimized. As soon as they receive an order, they have a set amount of time to pick up the items from the store, confirm they are on the way, and if they arrive later than the time specified in the app, the driver will lose points in the ranking. This makes it harder to advance in rank, which in turn reduces the money earned per order, or even results in penalties. Moreover, if they display poor attitudes, such as arguing or upsetting customers, negative reviews on the system could put them at risk of being fired. Additionally, Delivery drivers must hand food directly to customers at the specified locations. This means they often have to climb high-rise apartment buildings, navigate through crowded hospitals, or even cross scaffolding at construction sites to complete their tasks. Of course, for a newcomer like Tri Louis, everything was far from easy. Not every customer was friendly or polite. There were many times he received negative reviews for mistakes that weren't his fault. For instance, a young man wearing headphones failed to notice his phone, causing Tri Louis to be 30 minutes late with the delivery. Or another customer entered the wrong delivery address and unfairly gave him a 1-star rating. The scoring and rating system became a barrier that Tri Louis could never seem to overcome. Customers held immense power, while service providers could only bow their heads and put on a bright smile, even when being scolded to their face. This doesn't even account for the dangers drivers face on the road. Minor issues include being fined for running red lights or parking violations. More serious incidents involve hitting pedestrians or getting into traffic. Manager Joe often reminded the drivers to be careful on the road. In 2023 alone, there were 300 reported accidents, highlighting the risks of this job. Tri Louis himself had witnessed colleagues narrowly escape death, and he had his own close brushes with it more than once. The job was dangerous and challenging, yet the money earned was minimal. Constant late deliveries, complaints, and his unfamiliarity with the city's streets all contributed to a decreasing number of orders he could take, even though he worked tirelessly from morning until midnight. Tri Louis only earned 4,000 yuan, far short of the 15,000 yuan he initially aimed for. It was a dead end, and this time, things felt even worse. His father, who had spent his life working hard to support his education and success, expressed anger and disappointment in the job he was doing. Love turned into anger as his father voiced his reproach, and in a fit of frustration, Tri Louis responded sharply. He scolded his child for the 200,000 yuan annual tuition fees that far exceeded the family's financial capacity. He lashed out at his wife for buying a house that was too big, leaving them suffocated by the bank's debt collection. He even blamed his father for falling ill during such a difficult time. Perhaps those weren't Tri Louis's true feelings, but the crushing weight of life's pressures caused him to break down in that moment. One particularly moving scene showed Tri Louis trying to smile brightly for the apt smile campaign. What Tri Louis called a smile couldn't bring himself in reality, nothing more than a pained grimace on his distorted face. He was suspended for 3 days for failing to meet the company's targets. I once heard someone say that women cry when they reach the depths of pain, while for men, it's the bitter sting of helplessness. Tri Louis was no exception. Never had he felt such humiliation and sorrow. He wept silently, mourning his unfulfilled efforts. He had failed to protect his loved ones and to fulfill his responsibilities as a husband, father, and son. The journey toward a dream. To improve skills at work, the support of friends and colleagues is always essential. Embracing a willingness to learn and a proactive attitude without hiding ignorance becomes the guiding principle of success. Realizing this, Tri Louis began connecting more with those around him. He sought advice from experienced drivers, asking how to handle more deliveries, build good relationships with restaurant owners, or find the most efficient routes. It turns out that being a delivery driver isn't as easy as it seems. Beyond being quick, accurate, and punctual, the job also involves a complex process of management. It can't be said that Tri Louis's life has completely turned over a new leaf, but he is clearly adapting to the work and making significant progress. As a result, his earnings have also increased. Although he hasn't yet reached his goal of 15,000 yuan, earning 10,000 yuan, then 11,000 yuan. Step by step, Tri Louis's dream is getting closer. To improve and support his work, Tri Louis applied his IT knowledge to develop a personal project called Mastering the Route. Essentially, this project serves as a solution for drivers unfamiliar with the area, especially in neighborhoods where house numbers are disorganized. However, to make everything more complete and efficient, a lot of data was needed. Without Dahe sharing his carefully kept notebook of routes that he had meticulously mapped out over 4 years, Tri Louis might not have been able to achieve it. Friends became a solid foundation for his future. For Tri Louis to confidently move forward on his new career path, the unwavering support of his wife, Xiao Ni, is indispensable. Gentle, loyal, and steadfast, she has stood by him through both times of wealth and periods of hardship. She has never uttered a word of blame or humiliated him for not earning enough, because she understands just how much effort her husband is putting in. Default text. Zhao Ni is a source of pride and a steadfast pillar of emotional support, helping Tri Lui steer the family through their crisis. She reopened her drumming class, started live streaming on social media platforms to seek additional opportunities, and even worked at a nail salon late into the night. Success is often an elusive concept, one that no one can truly define. At times, it flickers like a small flame in the vast darkness, and Tri Lui keeps chasing after it, never quite reaching his goal. However, if he were to pause and look back, he would realize he has more than he ever imagined. He has good friends, a job that, while not making him wealthy, is enough to support his family, and most importantly, a loving and happy family by his side. The state of society. Tri Lui's speech upon receiving the Rookie Driver of the Year award spoke volumes. It highlighted the struggles faced by older workers who can no longer compete in the job market against the younger generation. It underscored how the years of experience they have accumulated are constantly being replaced and rendered obsolete. In one segment, other drivers complained about Daihei working too hard and performing so exceptionally that his achievements became the KPI benchmark for others. Not everyone is capable of delivering 70 to 80 orders a day. Not everyone can drive for 16 hours straight. However, the corporation didn't care about that. Everything they focused on was through data and statistical charts. In fact, even at the transfer station, Manager Chow developed a ranking system to praise the top performers each month. The competition grew fiercer, causing exhaustion to set in faster. People, who were never machines, now had no human rights left. Office workers sat on the floor, crying, asking the board of directors if they were still considered human, as they were continuously pressured with deadlines and forced overtime. Technology drivers, covered in blood from a traffic accident, still rushed to deliver orders because they feared a bad review. Human rights had never been so blurry and fragile. Everything had turned into an endless cycle of fear and insecurity, with no sense of a happy ending. For me, the moment when the food delivery system management recognized the effectiveness of the route management app developed by Tri Lui was very meaningful. It could open up a brighter future for Tri Lui, helping him return to office work with a stable income. At the same time, it also predicts a bleak future for tech drivers, where the company will force them to use the app to increase their KPIs and working hours. This aspect led to mixed reactions from viewers when the film was released. They didn't see the ending as a happy one. They condemned the corporations for being too greedy, draining the labor of people and discarding them when they were no longer useful. The route management app became the tool to fulfill their ideals. However, everyone must live their own life, and the hope for a bright tomorrow awaits ahead. Through Tri Lui's story, we see the harsh realities of modern life, as well as the extraordinary determination of people when faced with adversity. Do you empathize with the struggles of Tri Lui and the other delivery drivers? What are your thoughts on the 35-year-old curse and the pressure in the workplace? Please leave a comment below to share your thoughts on the movie Upstream. Who knows, we might discover new and interesting perspectives. And don't forget to like, share this video, and follow the channel to support me and look forward to upcoming videos. Thank you so much.